And we're going to start recording a second time. Hello, happy campers. Spike,
Hello, Chris.
For show. Us, you know. It's been a rough couple of weeks. October Court Day came and went. We actually recorded an episode 2 weeks ago that I couldn't use the audio for because somebody had the space shuttle going up and down the street outside his apartment.
It happens every time, and it usually happens at the worst moment. I'll sit there and be watching something, and then something exciting happens on TV, and I'm like, "No, I can't hear."
It happens,
So, yeah.
and of course, being an Android phone that we record this on, then it's it makes sure it picks up every spare noise that comes from anywhere within a half-mile radius and not what we're actually saying.
Then again, that's actually a pretty good phone.
Yeah, that doesn't do too bad. Anyway, so we're back. We're here with the show. Chris?
Yes.
We need to discuss one story more than any other. I know
Yes,
you
I
probably
know.
got notes all over it.
I know. Hold
Let
on.
me see if you
find
could
it.
figure out what the big story of the week was compared
there
to...
it is. It's all on the card by itself.
Okay, what do you got?
There was a tragic incident that happened on set of a movie.
Right, the movie Rust with Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
What have you got on this thing?
So a 42-year-old woman died. She was a cinematographer on the movie Rust. Her name is Helen Hutchins.
Mm-hmm.
She was shot and killed, and director Joe Souza was injured. Apparently, the gun was shot by Alec Baldwin, who stars in the movie, and it was apparently a piece. There's many rumors going on right now. Of course, what rumors do. Apparently, it was a prop gun that had whatever they use lodged in it, which is what killed. And then there's a rumor saying that it was a live round, which I don't understand at all.
Well, I can explain that one. But...
And so, anyways, this was like the biggest incident since Brandon Lee's death, which is Bruce Lee's son, in 1993 on the set of The Crow. So, yeah, that's what's really big happening right now.
Okay, well, let me explain a little something. I've been watching this. First off, I do feel bad for... I actually never thought I'd say this. I actually feel bad for Alec Baldwin as well as the families involved. There's been several things that have come out about this story since then. First off, the idea of live rounds being involved. Apparently in Hollywood, whenever they discuss live rounds, they're talking about a round which goes into a pistol, a revolver, any kind of firearm that can actually strike it. If it's a round that can go into it that has gunpowder in it that can be fired, that is considered a live round. It does not necessarily have a bullet attached to it.
Oh.
If the end is pinched off without a bullet, then that's called a blank. If it's got a bullet at the end of it, that's considered a bullet, or a cartridge, actually. So that's what the thing with the live rounds is. The other thing, too, is that apparently safety issues have become a problem on the set of this movie, Rust.
I heard about this.
Which, apparently, from what I'm seeing, several crew members actually walked off the set the morning of this incident because they felt the conditions were so unsafe. Now, earlier this week, I actually tweeted out a link to a PDF from a group that represents armorers and other groups involved in making sure that stunts and stuff are safely done within the film and television industries.
Yeah.
And it told you explicitly in this, from 2003 now, how to properly handle a gun, how to safely handle it. Basically, anybody who touches a firearm, whether it's designed for killing or not, if you're on a TV or a movie set, It is your responsibility, if you're holding that gun, to check to make sure whether it is loaded or not, which means you need to actually, if you have a revolver, in the case of the movie Rust, if you have a revolver, you need to open that chamber, you need to look at the revolving chamber. Does it have live ammunition in it? Does it have bullets in it, or does it have blanks in it? Is it primed? If it is the hammer cocked so that it would be able to fire off one of these weapons? This is what you do every time you pick up a gun. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're on a movie set, a TV set, a radio set, a Lego set. It doesn't matter. Out in the real world, it doesn't matter. One of the very first things they teach you when you start, before you're even allowed to touch a gun. When I was in the Army back in 1989, before they even let us look at a rifle, they made sure we knew at all times, treat a rifle, a handgun, any kind of firearm as loaded, locked, and dangerous. Okay? So for those of you who don't know, I am not a firearms trainer. I do not claim to be. But even I know this just as an Army veteran. You treat every weapon as if it is loaded and prepared to fire. If you never, ever touch the trigger of a weapon unless you intend to kill somebody with it or destroy something with it, okay? Your finger goes nowhere near the area of that trigger unless you are ready to fire, okay? Even with blanks, and this is the other thing I'm going to say on this, even with blanks can kill. It wasn't that long ago, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was clowning around on a movie set, and he knew it was loaded with blanks. He puts the gun to his head, and he pulls the trigger because it's blanks. He doesn't think it'll hurt. The blank still has wadding in it. So even when you press the trigger on the blank, that wadding is still coming out somewhere around the speed of sound and can still go through your head if you have it up against your head. You can commit suicide with a blank cartridge. I don't want to get that out there for anybody who's suicidal, but it can happen. And the last thing I'm going to say on this, besides, make sure you handle every gun safely. If you've got any kind of debris in the barrel of the gun, the business end of the gun, it doesn't matter whether you've got a bullet in there or not. If you've got a blank in there, whatever is lodged in there, you're hoping is going to be forced out the end and away from the gun, because the only other option is it blows up on you. Okay? The bullet fires through the expulsion of gas. A blank does the same thing, it just has no bullet. There's no bullet left. Okay? So, folks, if you see a gun, especially if you're on a movie set or a TV set where they're more likely to have these things laying around, if you do not touch it unless you absolutely have a reason to, you are instructed to, by the director, by the producer, by the armorer, whoever is there and is in charge. If they tell you to pick up that gun, you take that gun, you open it up, and you make sure the chamber is clear. Never, ever, ever walk around with a loaded gun. The gun should be loaded just before its intended use. Because, again, the only purpose of a gun, a firearm, a weapon like that is to either destroy something or kill somebody. Those are its only two uses. You don't use a gun to dissuade. You don't use a gun to persuade. You don't use a gun to get your point across. You use a gun to kill somebody or destroy something. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Thoughts and prayers to everybody involved in this. And no movie is ever worth a life. So, So we've got that said, done, and over with. What else you got on the plate there, big boy?
Hold on. I got I'm trying to make sure I got everything in order here. So we lost not a very familiar actor, but an actor went alone. You know, he was a good comedian.
Mm.
Peter Scolari?
Scolari? Peter Scolari?
Yeah.
Was he the one on Bosom Buddies and Newhart?
Yes, exactly. He passed away at 66.
Oh. That's a shame. I always liked him more than Tom Hanks, too. I think I was the one person in America who liked Peter Scolari over Tom Hanks. I guess I identified with him. I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying. There was something else that he was in. I just cannot remember what it was.
But he's been in a lot of things. Not as much as Tom Hanks. He never got the notoriety that Tom Hanks had.
Yeah, it's pretty sad though.
Yeah.
We also have apparently Ryan Gosling.
Is he dead?
Nah.
No. Okay.
No. But it might be after this. Will be playing Ken in the Barbie movie. I'm sorry, trying to say that without laughing is just hilarious.
Now wait a minute, Ryan Gosling. Name some of the other things he was in, because it's not who I think he is.
He's the dude from The Notebook.
That means nothing to me. What do I know him from?
He was in the sequel to Blade Runner.
That does nothing either. Try again.
He was in he's been in a lot of movies. It's just he's always been that dry actor.
I'm going to have to look this up, ain't I?
He was in that movie that I said was horrible that had the
Red Notice.
I said was boring about the astronaut.
Blue Valentine. Ryan Gosling must be stopped. Ryan Gosling stole my best friend. Let's see.
There's a lot of people that like him. I just don't know why, because he never smiles. He never shows any enthusiasm, any energy at all. He's just like, yes, I understand. Like, just straight. And it's like, dude.
Mm-hmm. Young Hercules, The Notebook, pre-production on The Wolfman, post-production on The Gray Man. That can't be what I think it is. Drunk History. Yeah, I have no idea who the hell he is. He's on Remember the Titans. And okay, it's on 2 episodes of Flash Forward. That was probably the one thing I would have seen him in. And an episode of Goosebumps. I wouldn't have seen him in that. And an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark. I wouldn't have seen him in that either.
I just want to point out the fact that they have Flash Forward on there. Bravo.
I remember that show. That was a decent show.
Yeah,
anyway.
So yeah, he will be playing Ken in the Barbie movie. And Barbie will be played by Margot Robbie. Harley Quinn herself.
Wow, I'm so impressed. Moving on.
Oh, more.
Hold on, before we go further. I am not a Margot Robbie fan. I'm not as impressed with her as everybody else seems to be. Of course, I'm not that much of a Harley Quinn fan. I can take her better than I can take the Joker at this point, but boy, that ain't saying much.
Oh.
But, yeah.
I mean...
We'll get into yeah, we'll get Go ahead.
Hayden Christensen will be returning as Anakin Skywalker in the Ahsoka series.
Yeah, I forgot that was going to be a thing.
Yeah. So that's happening.
Oh, that's great.
If you love theme parks and great, rides, I don't know how good of a ride this is going to be, but Wonder Woman Flight of Courage will be happening next summer at Six Flags. I'm going through this real quick.
I mean, basically, we've got 2 weeks worth of material, but it's all such crap that I don't care about.
Well, I mean, the last news I have on here, we'll probably talk about more because it's an event that happened last weekend. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Will Poulter will be playing Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is turning heads because this kid, his whole look has completely changed. As like this kid like literally went from looking like that dweeb to hunk. Like puberty really did good for him.
That's a darn shame.
Like it's really like wow. But it's just hilarious because trust me, if you've seen the pictures of this kid when he was a kid to what he looks like now,
is he sexy? Is he a pretty boy?
I was just like, what the hell happened here? Like what happened? Can you find me?
Who am I looking?
His name is Will Poulter.
Damn, he is pretty.
Look,
He's so pretty.
he went from that to this.
Yeah, I actually remember him from younger.
Exactly. It's like what? It's like
glow up of the century. Yeah.
It's like wow. Okay. It's just so weird. But yeah.
Will Poulter. Oh,
Everybody's like going, what happened here? Dune opened up this weekend. Opened up with 17.5 mil.
What?
Dune.
Oh, Dune. Okay. I thought you said Doom, and I was like, wait, Doctor Doom?
No.
The
Dune.
shoot 'em up?
The big word.
When are they getting a movie? But Dune. Dune is right up there with Atlas Shrugged as the most overrated things of the 20th century. I so couldn't give a rat's patoot about Dune. Frank Herbert, or anybody, I guess his name's Frank Herbert, wasn't it?
Oh, whatever.
I don't know. Whoever. I don't frickin' care about Dune. Couldn't care less about Dune. Never will care less about Dune. Oh, Frank Herbert, I was right, from 1965. This guy. I'm sure there are layers of me. I'm sure it's got layers, okay? I'm sure it's like an onion or an ogre, okay? Onion's got layers, ogre's got layers, Dune's got layers. I don't friggin' care. To heck with Dune. To heck with all Dune fans. If you're a Dune fan, you suck. Because Dune sucks. Dune sucks so much it just sucks the life, all the personality any fan might have ever had has been sucked out by Dune and left as space dust, laying there on the middle of that friggin' planet. To hell with you. Moving on.
Are you okay?
Screw Dune. Screw Dune. And screw him. Screw him.
Apparently he has a dramatic experience on that one. All right.
Screw Dune. I have been a veteran. Okay, I'm an Army veteran, and we used to play Dungeons and Dragons there. Okay, I am a college graduate. Okay, so I've had to deal with that too. I was in high school, and while I was in high school, I went to took summer courses at a college campus. I am so sick of Dune. I am so over Dune. I am just over Duned. I'm Dune. Okay, I'm done with Dune. There's the title for our show. Done with Dune. Moving on. Effing Dune.
The big story that we got a lot to talk about here. We had DC Fandome.
Yeah, I actually saw DC Fandome came out, and I couldn't care less. I didn't even look.
Oh, well.
You tell me what happened. You tell me what happened.
DC Fandome brought in 66 million viewers.
Really?
Yeah. Compared from last year, which was 22
I am shocked. I'm really surprised. I'm kind of curious how many of those are actual views, because it's come out here this past week that anywhere between 11 and 56% of all Facebook accounts are like side pieces for people who are already on
Oh yeah,
Facebook.
yeah, that's right.
I
I
mean,
saw
believe it
that.
or not, I have a side piece. Who, what, where is my side piece? Believe it or not, I have another Facebook account, but I just don't use it. So we've.
Well,
I don't even really use the Facebook account anymore. Who's on Facebook? I'm not on Instagram either. You teenagers know Instagram is just like
it's
Facebook
just
part
like
right?
pictures.
Right.
Let me take a picture of my food.
Let me take a picture of my coochie and put it on there. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah, it brought in some views. We got to see a teaser for the Flash movie,
Yeah.
which shocked everybody because Michael Keaton Batman showed up.
Yeah, like he was supposed to.
Of course, we only got to see the back of his head, and we didn't actually see Michael Keaton, but he was there.
Yeah, make you pay for the good stuff. Yeah.
And we.
Michael
Okay,
Keaton is what, 110 now? The man's a little desiccated at
but
this point.
still awesome.
But he's-
Still awesome. Oh, by the way, I did not tell you this.
Yeah, we already had that conversation about Michael Keaton as Batman. I was early on that one too. I was like, yeah, I could check it out. And then everybody else is like, you, Michael Keaton? Mr. Mom? No. And sure enough, everybody's like, oh, Michael Keaton in the Batman suit.
I did not know this, but I
Yeah.
learned this last night from a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Guess who was on the list to play the Joker in Tim Burton's movie and to do the voice of Joker before Mark Hamill took over?
Probably Tim Curry.
Yes!
Because Tim Curry was doing everything back then.
I was like,
The
what?
story of Tim Curry's career, it can only be told by Tim Curry, okay?
Dude.
But after Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I'm sure he still gets residuals for,
Yes, of course it does.
Tim Curry didn't. I didn't hear anything from Tim Curry until, believe it or not, I think it was 1987 or 88 when he did Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates. He was Captain Hook in Peter Pan and the Pirates on the Fox Kids channel. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, he did a lot of cartoons.
He's done cajillions of cartoon roles since then because he doesn't have to actually get up and go anywhere. He's got his, I'm sure Tim Curry has his own studio to do his own recording by now. But he just cleaned up doing that. There was like a couple of dozen people who did all of the TV cartoon shows on TV back then. Tim Curry was one of the leaders on it, and
Tim Curry, if you don't know, if you don't know who Tim Curry is, please look him up. He is a genius of crafting.
There's certain people in Hollywood who just, they have that cred. Okay, not even street cred. They're beyond street cred. They've become icons, and you may not even realize it yet. Because Mark Hamill was in the same boat as Tim Curry for a long time. He couldn't get work until he landed that role on Batman the Animated Series, and then all of a sudden he became hot and sexy again. Everybody wanted Mark Hamill to show up somewhere, and
well, it turns out that he actually went for the voice of the Joker on the Batman Animated Series, but it turns out because they really wanted him, but then it turns out he was too creepy.
Yeah, he is.
Because they said his voice, the way and his laugh, they were like, oh, this might scare children.
Yeah. Now, Mark Hamill's Joker can be creepy too in its own way, but he's not. True. He doesn't have that menace. Okay, Tim Curry, when they did the Killing Joke, when they finally did the animation thing to the Killing Joke, I don't know who did the Joker for that one, but it should have been Tim Curry, because Tim Curry, when he does that voice, he kind of has that slasher smile in his laughter. And you would actually get kind of creeped out just hearing him laugh. I got creeped out seeing him in Rocky Horror. So And that was like 15 years before that. But anyway.
He's a genius. Nigel Thornsberry.
Yeah, that one's the one that shocked me when I saw that. And I was like, holy crap, he does. But Tim Curry's one of those guys. He's in that upper echelon of the entertainment industry. I'm not going to say Hollywood because I don't think he's ever really been Hollywood.
No, but he's more famous than a lot of people.
He's in that upper echelon of guys who don't have to frickin' care what you think anymore. Okay, because he's in that Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood type of circle where he's just beyond you. George Lucas doesn't care what you think. He's George frickin' Lucas. Steven Spielberg doesn't either. They're the directors who are in that echelon. And when it comes to voices, Tim Curry doesn't give a crap. Okay, you need Nigel Thornsberry? Yeah, I can do him. You need the Joker? Yeah, I can do him. You need like yeah, I think he was actually up for a role in Toy Story at one point as one of the side roles, just where he'd have like a line or two of dialogue to say he did it.
Yeah, because I mean, who doesn't want him to voice something? Like seriously, it's like I love hearing his voice.
And Tim Curry will do it Tim Curry will do it for scale, just because he wants to do it. Yes. And it's the same reason Tim Allen and Tom Hanks did all those Toy Story movies. They didn't get paid what they were worth. They did it because their kids wanted to hear their dads on the. They wanted cred among their kids and their grandkids. So.
And Tim, I mean, he's done everything from being the villain to being like just a comedy gold with like Clue, and he was, I think it was Home Alone 2 where he played the hotel manager or whatever that was trying to chase the kid.
Yeah.
And shit, and yeah. It was, Tim Curry's awesome.
So anyway, back to DC Fandome.
Yeah, sorry, we can just...
because, I honestly don't give a crap about... This is the first time since about 1980 where I just do not give a crap about DC Comics right now. I'm just done with the DC Comics. I'm almost done with Marvel Comics. They've almost chased me off. I'm almost ready to do my own at this point because there's just nothing out there worth reading. There's nothing out there worth reading. I've got 7 or 8 franchises in my head right now, but I've got to figure out where do I start.
We got the Batman trailer. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it, but
really?
Yeah, because again, I saw DC Fandome and I was like, I don't care, and I walked away. So I have not seen anything related to DC Fandome. I didn't see any of the trailers.
It's not bad at all.
I've heard it. It wasn't half bad. But.
We also got a teaser trailer from Black Adam.
Now, wait a minute. That one I actually did see. Because it's Black Adam, it's JSA. I'm going to be there for it, whether I like DC or not anymore. Oh, man. Actually, the Beloved and I were having a discussion the other day because we saw, it was yesterday, because we saw Samson versus the Vampire Women. And the Beloved was thinking, no, wait a minute, is this one of those kind of Italian films? Because it was one of the Mystery Science Theater episodes. And of course, they did all the Hercules movies with Steve Reeves in it. Okay? And she was wondering, was it like that? And I was like, no, I think this is one of those Mexican wrestler movies. Okay? And Samson was a Mexican wrestler. He was a luchador back in the 50s. And they actually made movies about these luchadors because they were so popular. And he would show up as... in the mask, in his wrestling mask, as the luchador Samson, and he was taking on vampire women, okay? Now, anybody who's seen the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, you're like, well, duh, because you've probably seen it about 5,000 times on Pluto TV.
I got to admit, I actually think I watched that one a long time.
The thing is, remember rule number 1 of Spike?
Yeah.
There's nothing new under the sun. The Rock... the reason you don't like watching The Rock in movies is because he's always The Rock. In every movie he's in, he's The Rock. If he's in Jungle Cruise, he's The Rock.
Yeah.
If he's in if he's in Jumanji, he's playing The Rock, playing some other role. In Black Adam, I think this might be the one where he actually is not The Rock. He actually looks like he's somebody... He looks like he is a hero way back in a different time, about 4 or 5 thousand years ago, even before the Jewish Exodus. And where he lost his family and then he lost his mind. So that one actually looks like it'll be fun, and we're actually going to get Dr. Fate and Hawkman and something because they also have ties to that story in the modern interpretation anyway. When Black Adam was first created, he was just the anti Captain Marvel, but call him Shazam now. So I've just stolen all of your thunder, but that one, Black Adam, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Black Adam because I think it looks like they're going to be following along with the Jeff Johns, James Robinson style story that they did, because back then Hawkman was in charge of Egypt, and Dr. Fate was his lead wizard, and Black Adam was kind of like his Superman. He was in charge of his armies. So that ought to be loads of fun, especially if they can start tying into that mythology. Because you want to talk about what the Mummy movies were like with Brendan Fraser at its best. Then now imagine that, but with superheroes and an actual mythology that can go in like 15 different directions.
Love it already.
You've got a whole new universe for DC for Warner Brothers to build on using DC stuff, but it's not tied into like Super Gay or Bat Gay or Wonder Gay or any of these other, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, because Ethan Van Sciver did a video. He's heavy into Comicsgate. He's one of the leads on Comicsgate. Ethan Van Sciver did a video that said Chuck Dixon was right, and all it does is it uses a little scene from one of the Penn and Teller routines, where Teller pulls a rabbit out of a hat, and Penn is supposed to be DC Comics, and they just keep pulling the rabbit out of the hat. Superman's gay, and they pull the rabbit out of the hat. Robin's gay, and they pull the rabbit out of the hat. Somebody else is gay, and somebody else is gay, and basically he's showing Chuck Dixon was saying DC is just signaling this. They don't even care anymore. They're just doing it so they can get a quick little cheap bump in the sales or something. And he shows they've done this a dozen times by now. Not even a joke. DC Comics has turned a dozen characters gay over the last 2 decades. Including the original Green Lantern is supposed to be gay now. From like 1940. The guy who used to be a train engineer. The guy who fathered 2 children is gay. So
I know that they're trying to, have it to where like gay people can have like somebody they can look up to.
Well,
but the thing is that there has been gay superheroes in the DC Comics,
right?
That they could have took those characters and done something with instead of turning everybody else gay.
Yes, look at. So for goodness sake, look, Wildstorm went over to. They were the part of Image that went over to DC. Okay, that's how Jim Lee got his shot at his position at DC. Apollo and Midnighter are gay lovers. Okay, they were supposed to be Superman, Batman analogs over in the Wildcats universe, something like that. Over in the Wildstorm universe, but they were gay lovers. You've already got these characters. Why are you trying to turn all these other characters? Okay, I need to stop right here because I'm going to get us kicked off the YouTube channel. We need to do this over on the. We need to do this over on our Rumble channel.
Did you ever get that set up?
I've got the Rumble channel set up. What we're going to do is okay, just a quick programming note. We're going to do the Spike and Chris show still here on YouTube and on Facebook. And we're going to do the Chore of Duty over on Rumble. And the Chore of Duty is where we take the gloves off and we just start dropping bombs that need to be dropped. Okay? That's where I'm going to start telling you about why Anthony Fauci is the most evil man of the last half century. No, I'm serious. This guy is like Hitler for the modern age. He is medical Hitler. I'm going to go into the Rumble. We're going to start talking about gun issues. We're going to start talking about religion. We're going to start talking about why humanity is evil, and the big difference between the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys here in this upcoming fight think that humanity is evil, and the bad guys think humanity is good.
Right.
So there's a whole kinds of thing. We'll get into that in the chore of duty over on the Rumble. It is coming, I promise you. We just need to actually sit down and actually start
I have
recording
no
on it.
idea on that one. What if, like, one weekend we just do news, and then the next weekend we do...
We may wind up doing that.
Like,
we may alternating between the pop culture and news talk over on. It'd be a lot easier on me, that's for sure. So you got anything else? I'll tell you what, folks. I'm going to include a link to Ethan Van Sciver's video on this. It's only like 4.5 minutes, but I'll include it in our Twitter feed and our Facebook feed so you guys can see this, because you need to see that. Once you see all of this that DC has been doing over the past 20 years, then you're like, holy crap, they have been going to the well, because it means absolutely nothing by now. So, yeah.
Also, of DC fandom, we have the Peacemaker trailer, which I'm not
Is
really...
that the one? Is that the one with
John
Cena in it?
Yeah.
That they really, really, really need to be careful with this, because Peacemaker is an extremely violent character, and John Cena has a huge following among kids. He's always been a kid's hero.
That is true. This looks like it's going to be a really raunchy comedy with violence. So basically, it's going to be just like Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah.
Pretty much. What you looking at?
No, I'm just typing. Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put this on Twitter before I forget.
But then we got some in-look on a couple of things. I couldn't find a thing on Static Shock, but we do have news on Blue Beetle, and that the actor... Okay, look, you guys already know I'm really bad at names. This guy, I mean, come on. Like, I don't even know how to even try to pronounce this. Like, his first name is literally spelled Xolo.
Sholo.
Is that...
I don't know.
I don't know.
X is usually pronounced as an SH. Here, let me see this thing. I need to see where we are, because I'm
It's at the bottom
Uh,
there.
Sholo Maradvince. No, that's a U. Sholo Maradvenu.
Something.
I'm going to play the Blue Beetle.
Yeah, he will be playing the Blue Beetle. He's the only show I think he's pretty much ever worked on is Cobra Kai.
I'll say this: Blue Beetle was one of those rare race lifts that actually worked. When they brought Jamie Reyes in to be the new Blue Beetle and actually made the Beetle a part of it, because before him there was Ted Kord, and Ted Kord was kind of like a Batman without the glower to it. And then before him there was I think the original Blue Beetle's name was, no, it's not Dan Cassidy, because that was a Blue Beetle. Blue Devil. I can't remember who the original Blue Beetle was, but Dan Garrett, I think, was his name. And he was just a cop who wore a funky pair of glasses and a blue suit of armor when he was Blue Beetle. But Jamie Reyes, I think they actually did it right, because they actually put some thought into expanding upon the character. They didn't just make him like a lightweight Mr. Fantastic with a Beetle gimmick, which is what they did with Ted Kord. They gave him actual powers and actual personality, and somebody who actually struggles with the powers of the Blue Beetle, because yes, the Blue Beetle is some kind of alien thing from off planet, or maybe magic based, or whatever they're doing with him.
I really hope they do this very, very well, because I love that, and I also love the Mexican culture, because ever since I watched this one show where it was all Latinos. I think it was like the south part of California. One ran like a food truck. One ran a restaurant. You had this one girl that was hired to like do art on walls on the side of stores and stuff. But it was about this family just like, living day to day. And it was actually a really good show, and then it got canceled. And I'm like, but I was like, I loved it because it showed the Mexican culture, the family, the food, the lifestyle and stuff like that. And I really got into it. And I'm like, and part of me is like, man, I hope Blue Beetle is kind of like that, to where it's about like this kid in like south part of California or something like that, and then he comes across this
East LA type
stuff.
Thing, yeah.
Like I kind of hope that they do something like that, but
this is something that drives me insane about all these corporations. First off, understand corporations don't care. Okay, they don't care about your representation. They don't care about They don't care about you. All they care about is your money. All they want is your money. That's all they want. Give them money, and they don't have to give you anything. That would be a perfect world for corporations. Okay. These corporations that own these media outlets, okay, and this series that you liked,
yeah,
okay. Remember back in the 80s, Hill Street Blues, NBC was notorious for this back in the 70s and 80s. NBC would sit there and lose money on a show for years and years if they thought it was if they thought it was well written, if they thought it told good stories, it had good character development, then by golly, Grant Tinker's NBC would sit there and give you every chance in the book, every opportunity. They would sit there and keep supporting you. Even when Grant Tinker left and started MTM, and he was working with, and he was the one behind Hill Street Blues getting on the air. He was the one behind WKRP getting on the air. It was Grant Tinker who established that idea, and that's why I love Grant Tinker to this day, rest his soul. But NBC would at least give you the support. All these corporations that talk about how inclusive they are and how sensitive they are and how diverse they are, if it means that they have to give up one thin dime in profit on in their quarterly bonuses in order to keep that show about Mexicans that you liked on the air, they will not do it. They will drop that in a heartbeat and say, well, we gave it a chance, by golly. And it had what, 4 episodes, 6 episodes? Disney now considers 13 episodes to be a full season. Used to be 22, used to be 26.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if a cartoon did well, it would stay on the air more than 2 or 3 years. Now Disney leads the way. 65 episodes, you're done. No more. Phineas and Ferb and Rugrats, I think, were the 2 main exceptions to that. But
wow. I know, like, I just really hope they do this character justice, because, like, I also think it was, like, Heroes, the newer thing, but it didn't last long, but they had a character in there where he was a wrestler, a Mexican wrestler, like you said.
A luchador, yeah.
And he was just going around town saving people, and only the people around there was like, who is this guy, and all that stuff. And I forgot what they did with him, but it's like he just, like, well, the show didn't last at all.
See, this
But
is
that was
a concept.
Good idea, and I was
this is a concept because, to get into lucha a little bit, okay, in Mexican culture, and I don't think it's as strong as it used to be, but in Mexican culture, these luchadors, they almost all wore masks.
Yeah.
And they would go out in public in their masks, even wearing 3-piece suits. They would wear the masks because they were playing the character, and people respected them.
Yeah.
People, you could have criminals getting ready to mug a grandma or something, and they'd see one of these luchadors come down the street. They wouldn't do it because they didn't want that luchador to come over and beat them up. Imagine a series about, not like Mucha Lucha or Lucha Underground or any of these other Americanized things. Imagine a show where you have luchadors in masks, but they're going out and they each have a power in public and they're fighting crime and stuff. This takes you back to like what Marvel used to be in the shared universe, where you had these basically do-gooders going out there, but you also had bad guys in masks too. So you had good luchadors, bad luchadors running around the streets of East LA, and the bad guys are doing crime, the good guys are trying to fight crime, and then all of a sudden, on those rare occasions, they'll meet and you get a lucha match out of the middle of nowhere in the streets of East LA. For goodness sake, as they get more pumped up and stronger, they're like suddenly they're 10 feet tall and then they're 20 feet tall. Next thing you know, you got kaiju running through East LA. They're like 5 stories tall. They're throwing each other into buildings and stuff because they're getting stronger and stronger, and the people around them, all the Hispanic culture who respect the luchadors, the more they believe in their luchadors, the bigger they get, the stronger they get, the more powerful they get.
Oh,
next thing you know,
you're making me like
it's almost like a Mexican Godzilla, but it's like Ultraman. Okay, just like Ultraman back in the day in Japan. He would grow into this huge thing because the Japanese people believed in him and stuff, and he would fight all these monsters and robots and all these other things because people needed him there. Why can't you do that with luchadors? Because that's the way they used to see the luchadors, being larger than life.
Man, please, somebody do that. I would love to do something like that, but I'm not Latino, so that would be kind of wrong.
So what?
But I could be like, hey, dude, you want to make a movie? Like, let's try and do this because it sounds.
I throw
awesome.
these ideas out all the time, guys, and I know nobody's actually listening to me. Nobody actually cares, but I'll throw them out there. Hey, take it, run with it, do something with it.
Awesome. All right, one more story I know.
Thank you. I'm hungry. Go.
Batgirl.
Yes, Batgirl.
Is finally being made. I'm not talking about a series or the CW horrible show, Batwoman. I'm talking about Batgirl, the movie, starring Leslie Grace from In the Heights. I've seen In the Heights. I know you haven't because In the Heights is a musical. But I'm excited because it looks like the people behind it are really passionate about it. And I'm totally up for it as long as it's nothing like the TV series Batwoman. But yeah.
Oh, and I'll hold. It's hard, but I'll hold my judgment on that one. So, 2 more quick news hits before we go. Okay. All right. First off, you know who's playing Starfox? Do you even know who Starfox is?
I know who Starfox is, but I didn't know.
The internet lost its mind because in the Eternals, there's the brother of Thanos is Eros, the god of love, and that's going to be played by Harry Styles. Yeah, Chris just rolled his eyes and sighed. That's exactly the way I reacted when I heard about that. I'm going to show you. That's what Starfox is. Nobody cares. So anyway, and then the reason. You remember Amy Pascal? Amy Pascal.
Yeah.
She's over at Sony. She was in charge of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and then Marvel got involved, and Kevin Feige said, "You know what? The Amazing Spider-Man movies sucked. We're not going to do a third one. Let's do it this way instead." Which is, when the movies started making money again.
Yeah.
She was sitting there, quote, eating a delicious sandwich, end quote, and then he told her that and she started crying and then threw the sandwich at him, at Kevin Feige. Amy Pascal was so upset that Kevin Feige came in and ran over her Amazing Spider-Man 3 idea that she stopped eating her delicious sandwich and threw it at him and started crying. That's who we deal with in Hollywood, folks. So, you know what? I feel bad. I feel bad for the sandwich because a delicious sandwich is a darn hard thing to find. But anyway, you got anything else, Chris? Before we go?
No, that's.
Thank goodness. Let's go because we've got chicken teriyaki awaiting us.
Ooh.
Oh yes, we're going. We sit down. We do these recordings typically at the Who What Where Studios out in lovely Lucky Stop. And we This is the Lucky Stop Studios for Who What Where, and we and the beloved sits there and will make these ridiculously fantastic meals for us. And this we eat before we do this. This is why we're not quite as high energy this time, because we're kind of sucking wind. But anyway, so we'll see you all on the other side of chicken teriyaki. Until next time, Spike,
Chris,
Joe, and don't cry, y'all. Honestly, it's not that important. We'll see you. We'll see you down the road. Y'all take care now. Ta.
Ta-ta for now.